Hello everyone and welcome to Sketch Review, the series where I review movies and shows but in a fun, unique, artistic way. Today I'll be starting a movie series that I grew up with based on the books by transphobic author J.K. Rowling. But I'm not here to talk about her, I'm here to talk about Harry Potter. So without further ado, it's time for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone as it's called in America. It released on November 14th, 2001, directed by Chris Columbus, starring Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Robbie Coltrane, Maggie Smith, Richard Harris, Alan Rickman, Ian Hart, and many others. Needless to say, this movie is absurdly popular, but does it hold up well? The story begins on a dark night, when Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry staff Albus Dumbledore, Minerva McGonagall, and Rubeus Hagrid drop off recently orphaned baby Harry Potter at the home of the Dursleys, his only living relatives, because it's better to keep him away from magic until he's older. Right off the bat, you can see some of the weird and insane things that happen in this franchise. Yes, let's drop this baby off for him to grow up with his terrible, abusive relatives just because they're related by blood. Well, 10 years go by, and we see the amazing living conditions of Harry Potter, joined by his Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley. After a mishap at the zoo in which Harry somehow talked to snakes and got Dudley trapped in an exhibit, the Dursleys keep Harry under lockdown in their home, telling him that there's no such thing as magic. But that doesn't stop the massive swarm of owls from delivering letters to Harry telling him that he's been accepted into Hogwarts, which drives the Dursleys mad. Moving out to a remote island they somehow have access to, that doesn't stop Hagrid from popping in and giving Harry a birthday cake because he just turned 11. This is also when Hagrid reveals the truth to Harry, that he is a wizard just like his parents. Harry decides to run away from his family and go off with this random stranger who just told him he was a wizard. Personally, I wouldn't have done that, but maybe an 11-year-old would, so I don't know. Harry and Hagrid head down to Diagon Alley, which is where we are first introduced to the wizarding world, and where Harry gets his pet owl and other school supplies. What's funny about this, and can be seen throughout many moments in this franchise, is how characters who grow up with magic around them have such strong reactions to things that should be common for them, like random kids reacting to flying brooms, for example. It's a bit odd that the movie kind of just stops to admire itself a lot. It kind of takes away from that lived-in feeling that it should have. When Harry visits Ollivander's wand shop, he tests out a few different wands, but is chosen by a very important wand, one that is connected to Voldemort's, aka He Who Shall Not Be Named, aka Magic Hitler. Harry asks Hagrid about He Who Shall Not Be Named, and he reveals that Voldemort was the one who killed his parents, and gave Harry the scar on his forehead, making Harry famous among the wizarding world for being the boy who lived. Because we all love the chosen one trope, right? Before they leave, Hagrid and Harry stop by Gringotts Bank to pick up a secret item for Hogwarts business. So now we've got our MacGuffin too. Well, it's time for Harry to take the train on platform 9 3/4 to Hogwarts, so Hagrid just abandons his child at the train station, but luckily he makes it aboard. This is where Harry first meets his friends Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, who will form the trio that we follow throughout the series. All the students arrive at Hogwarts, where Harry first meets his fellow student Draco Malfoy, aka his rival that has surprisingly little screen time in these movies. Anyway, as they make their way into the Great Hall for a feast at the start of the year, the first year students are placed into 4 different groups by the Sorting Hat. Gryffindor, which are the good guys, Slytherin, which are the bad guys, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff, those last 2 doing basically nothing in these movies. You know, it's so weird that they would sort students like this, like you're basically forcing them to fit into these rigid personalities. It just doesn't seem very healthy. We then follow Harry and friends as they go to their classes, which further shows just how insane Hogwarts is. McGonagall gets mad that Harry and Ron show up late to class, as if the magic staircases don't switch places every 30 seconds where students could fall to their deaths. Potions Professor Severus Snape gets mad at Harry for just taking notes, although I guess that plays into the fact that he's supposed to appear as the bad guy. And Neville almost dies the moment he starts flying on the broom. The kids at this school are so lucky to be alive. Like, I just can't imagine why anyone would want to go here. While all this is going on, Harry joins the Quidditch team as their seeker, aka the guy who can just automatically win the game for them. But that's not all. The gang begin to put together a mystery going on at Hogwarts. Monsters have attacked in and around at the school. A giant 3-headed dog guards a forbidden room. And Harry also finds the Mirror of Erised, which shows one's desire, in his case, his parents. He also gets an invisibility cloak, which is not really thought of as a significant thing in this movie, even though it is later on. It's a bit weird. Eventually, from clues given by Hagrid's carelessness in sneaking into the restricted section of the school's library, Harry and friends learn that Fluffy, the three-headed dog, is guarding the Philosopher's or Sorcerer's Stone, a magical rock that can potentially grant immortality. The trio think that Snape might be the one behind the attacks at the school, and is trying to acquire the stone to bring Voldemort back to life. Learning that they can get past Fluffy with music, they set off to get the stone, but are confronted by Neville, who just wants to keep Gryffindor from getting into any more trouble by them sneaking out. Hermione uses a spell that temporarily paralyzes him, and I just think it's crazy how all these kids have these powerful, extremely dangerous wands that they can just use whenever they want. I mean, I'm surprised more of them aren't, killing each other with this. After getting past Fluffy, who was already put to sleep with music by someone else, they travel deeper and deeper past several obstacles designed to keep others away. But Hermione shows her intelligence, Ron shows his chess skills, and Harry shows his broom skills as they go further and further through these obstacles. In the end, it's just Harry in a room surrounded by fire, with the Mirror of Erised, and none other than his defense against the dark arts teacher, Quirinus Quirrell. Snape wasn't the bad guy, he was actually trying to stop Quirrell, but it's not so simple as him wanting to revive Voldemort. Voldemort has actually been living on the back of his head. I don't know how he was under this turban the whole time, like how he was breathing or anything like that, but oh well. In yet another cliche, Voldemort attempts to get Harry to join his side after seeing the stone somehow teleport into Harry's pocket, but he refuses, and so Quirrell attacks. But when touching Harry, he just disintegrates. Why have a compelling challenge when the chosen one can just instantly win? After Harry recovers in the nurse's office, Dumbledore visits him and tells him that the power of love prevailed over Voldemort, or something cheesy like that. Harry says his goodbyes to his friends and Hagrid and returns back to his abusive home for the summer, having completed his first year at Hogwarts. Part of what makes this franchise so good is the look of the movies. They created an iconic world that will be hard to change if they ever decided to reboot the series. It's easily a major factor in why people like these movies, just the visual component of it. The visual effects are about as good as you'd expect for 2001, so they haven't really aged well and are actually pretty bad. The music was done by John Williams, who also did Star Wars, which is funny because this movie sounds very similar to the prequel era movies that were releasing around the time. It's not a bad thing though, but also that theme music is iconic. This movie had the impossible task of actually casting these characters. Not only would they have to bring the iconic book characters to life, but also find people that would be able to carry a franchise, which is incredibly difficult given the volatility of child actors growing up. Miraculously, they casted child actors that would stick around throughout all 8 movies and actually get better as time goes on. It's a bit rough here, but they're also so young, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's a decent start to this massive film franchise, and for that reason, it's okay. Before rewatching, I would have said that it was good or great, but I think the flaws of this movie started to shine through this time. Mainly the fact that it kind of just seems to be going scene to scene without much flow, in my opinion. And that's it for the first Harry Potter movie. If you enjoyed, leave a like on this video, subscribe for more videos, turn on notifications to know when I post, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this movie if you've seen it. Next time, I'll be reviewing the second movie in the Harry Potter franchise, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.